There was another interesting quote in terms of driver future, and this was from Emerson Fittipaldi, who's 1970 something. Can't remember. 8?
Olden days.
Early 70s, I think. Champion with McLaren. He believes that Charles Leclerc's seat at Ferrari is less secure than Carlos Sainz's.
What's his reasoning for that?
I mean, he says Leclerc golden boy for the past few seasons.
Yeah,
has been. Yeah. But contract's up next season. And I just like Sainz, sorry. Sainz is performing better this season, heading the championship. Debatable. Did outscore Charles last year.
Yeah.
Strategic errors and Carlos seems to, again, he's the one who's been pulling rank more often than not with Ferrari. I do think I've talked about this before. I think Carlos Sainz is quite an underrated driver. You look at throughout his career, he was closer to Max. After Ricciardo, Sainz was the next closest to Max in equal machinery of any of Max's teammates. Yes, they were both very young.
Yeah, I was about to say Max was obviously young, but so was Carlos. Both early on in their career.
And then Lando, they had 2-3 years together.
Yeah,
whatever it was.
And was it 2? Yeah, 2.
Yeah, and Sainz was. Yeah, how highly we hold Lando now. I know Sainz is more experienced, but they were pretty close, if not Sainz he edged it in points anyway. And now against Charles Leclerc, I think that teammate balance again in terms of ability, he's really close to Charles and did a fantastic job in Monza.
Yeah, started off slowly, didn't he, when he first got in the Ferrari? Yeah, making some unforced errors, but
I think it'd be a big mistake. I think more than ever, it'd be a big mistake for Ferrari to allow Carlos Sainz to go elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, certainly because I think you've got that quite good balance. I mean, we talk about teammates that are very close and sort of the pitfalls that the pros and cons, obviously
too close.
With Max and Checo right now, it's too far apart. With Lewis and Nico when they were together, too close. You kind of want that little bit of breathing space, track dependent or whatever. And I think there is that. Charles overall, one lap wise is better than Carlos, but in terms of consistency, Sainz probably has the edge there. And overall, they're not too close that they're always on the same part of track every single lap, every single race, to end up having collisions with each other. Realistically, the only time we've even seen them potentially do that was last week at Monza. Before that, I haven't actually, it hasn't really been an example I can remember off the top of my head where they've caused problems with each other. They're also pretty level-headed. I think they're just a good teammate partnership. I think if you can keep them together in the long term for Ferrari, I think it'd be a good move. Whilst they've not really got any juniors ready. Ollie Behrman's going to be sick eventually, but if you can try and shoehorn him in somewhere else into F1.
Don't rush him in,
Yeah, because he's still 12 or whatever. So it's fine. You got time.
Yeah, look, I think Ferrari is when I look at that actual balance of performance, both drivers, and I think, obviously, they're under pressure because they're Ferrari. There's huge scrutiny from Italian media and pressure and expectation that comes with that seat.
Yeah.
And I think where, Charles is a bit more crash happy, doesn't help his case, but I think of all the pairings on the grids, that for me is if I'm a team principal and I'm trying to achieve, success with a team, and ultimately, it's very rarely do you see all the cards being thrown completely behind one driver in such a flagrant. I don't even think that happened with Lewis and Bottas. I think Bottas was allowed the opportunity, was allowed to be close at the start of the year.
Yeah.
And actually, no, I think that's unfair to Red Bull. Maybe I think Perez was allowed to be close to Max at the start of the year because it was 2-2 at the start of the year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But then when Max got on top of the car, that's when it fell apart. Yeah. There's nothing that Checo could do. I don't even think it was so much the team interfering, to be fair. But I just think I think Sainz and Leclerc's fight, I think that's a quality part.
I think it's great. Obviously, the quotes as well after Monza, they were both just that was great. I loved that. I genuinely thought Carlos was going to come out. I know it's probably
what if they crashed into each other?
If they crashed into each other, different story.
What are they saying?
Carlos was just I hope everyone enjoyed that. Had proper fun, great battling my teammate. On to the next one. I was just expecting him to complain and be like, Charles shouldn't have been attacking me, whatever. We should have brought it home. And they were both just it was great fun, lads. Next week.
Which, you know what?
Same time.
So refreshing, because that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
we're watching racing, you know what I mean? And it's like, yes, obviously there's teammate politics, I understand that, but this is what we want to see. We want to see these best riders. And you know what, like, ultimately teammates battling, they are the only, like, we talk about F1 and it's like not equal and the Red Bull's way better than the Haas and whatever, but it's like for, you know, these pairings, they are in the same car. So we are seeing in those pairings the two different drivers battling in the same car.
Yeah.
And Sainz did have that, although he was a bit naughty in his defence, I thought, at times, but because it was teammates, they're not going to cry about it. Yeah. I mean, there's no way Carlos holds onto that position if that's another car they're fighting, because that position's been taken off of him 100%. That defence into turn 4, Carlos, that was, you knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
he knew exactly what he was doing.
That was great.
But yeah, so as much as I get that Fittipaldi, what he's kind of saying, but do I actually think that them two are under pressure? I mean, Leclerc in particular. Leclerc's going to be fine. I mean, he's not. I can't see him leaving Ferrari again. It is, if it comes good,
not through Ferrari's choice
to win at Ferrari. No, and I don't think through his either. I really don't.
Well, I mean, what's a more attractive option?
Yeah, and it's still just a chance somewhere else.
Yeah,
it's still a chance, an opportunity, and I just think that. But I don't think. I don't know. It's a different era, isn't it? You look at when Schumacher came into that team and he took Ferrari by the scruff of the neck and he pulled them to success and won their first title for 21 years. Leclerc's not that character. He's not that same leader character, I don't believe, than like which is like Schumacher's a tall order to like stand up to, of course.
Yeah, I mean, just dragging a team on your own back and just being like, right, we're going to win championships now is not really something that a lot of drivers can do.
But again, it's a different era these days, and I think that, for a driver to come through and do that with a team, I think is more difficult now than it ever would be.
Yeah, facts.